Everyone, welcome to another edition of Independent Artists Unite Song Series. Super psyched to have Weyward back on the program. Welcome, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
And today we're going to do something a little different and talk about these two covers that you've done. The first, Lazarus, Bowie's Lazarus, that we have been meaning to talk about for a while. Sorry about that. And The Cure's Plainsong.
Yeah,
Both of these songs are like favorites of mine.
awesome.
I'm curious. Let's just talk about how did you come about like choosing to do these songs? Because I'm always curious why people choose to do cover songs.
Yeah, so I kind of, okay, for a long time before I started this Wayward project, I was always just like noodling on the acoustic guitar. Like, how can I do a cover with an acoustic guitar of something that should not be a cover with an acoustic guitar, right? And so I kind of like got into this habit of whenever I was listening to music, I was like, could I do a cover of this? And so now like I wanted to do some covers more with this sound on the Wayward project. And so I'm always listening to music and thinking, could this be a cover? Could this be a cover? And
Interesting.
so I mean, first off, Lazarus is just an amazing track. Like one of the most haunting songs I think ever, right? And just like knowing the
Yeah.
story behind the album and everything else, I've always loved that song. And I was listening to it. I was like, even though this is just jazz musicians with horns and whatever, this could be a heavy song with heavier guitars, a darker sound. And I just had to do it. Just had to do it.
Well, I tell you, I like I really appreciate that you did it because it allowed me to just like appreciate the song for the song that it is because this was like Bowie's like kind of sonic death rattle, it was like it was so heavy, you know what I mean? There's so much baggage, and I found out with of course I'm a like huge Bowie fan, but and I found with other Bowie fans they find that all of Black Star like difficult to listen to, like
Mhm.
it's so heavy. There's so much that goes with it. Like you can't sit down and casually be like, oh, I think I listened to this song that I like on Ye Old Black
Right.
Star album.
Right. That was
It's like,
released three
yeah,
days before he died, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's like too much. So it was
Yep.
like I was like,
Yep.
oh, let me see. And I started listening to your cover of Lazarus, and I was like, wow, it's like there's enough headspace. There's enough air in the room to breathe and enjoy the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
really, I
Well,
really appreciate that. Yeah,
good. I mean, I'm happy that's the way you felt. And
yeah,
that you got to hear it differently. So that's great.
yeah, yeah. That was a really cool experience. Um, but when you go about so you were thinking in advance, like I want to make this a bit heavier and a bit darker.
Mhm.
Like how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of already hear it in the guitars on the Bowie track. There already is that little bit of heavy guitar there, so I just knew that
Mhm.
that was gonna be easy. It was just make it heavier, but keep it real and true to the original. And then I just started hearing like, these horns, these can just be these can be, guitar solo
Mm.
pieces that can go along with that. And so, I mean, really, there wasn't a whole lot to Lazarus for me as far as making it and putting my sound to it because it was really just like, the song is just perfect
It was all there,
for the
right?
sound that I make, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yep.
And what about, what were your feelings as you went to sing the song? Because I've like, I've like it's hard to sing a Bowie song and not do a Bowie-ish impression. you know? And
Right.
so he's got such a strong identity vocally, you know.
Yeah, I think I had the same problem, right? It was like, do I just try to sound like Bowie, which I can't do, but I could try, or do I just do my own thing? And that was really where, as I started recording the vocals, initially I was like, I'll sing it through, it'll just be me, and it'll be fine. And then I actually went through and tracked it three different times with three different like vocalizations and
Oh, interesting.
put them all on the track.
All
So
right. Okay.
I kind of went through with like my voice and then with a little bit of like a trying to sound like Bowie, and then another one that was more almost
Kind of kind of
hurt or
oh,
dying,
hurt. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Okay,
know.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I got to put all three of them in there, and so you kind of hear that as you listen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's a great vocal performance that you give on this, man. I mean, it really was cool to hear you singing like that.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you got a great voice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought you were gonna say one, because what I've done sometimes when I double vocals is that when one is like kind of over the top emotionality, I do one where I'm intentionally trying to sound like more monotone or like not as emotional, you know what I mean? Like
Right, right.
more of the yeah, like a Ian Curtis delivery or something, you know.
Yep.
Kind
Yep.
of-
Yeah, I didn't think about that, that bit of as much as kind of like playing off of it and more just around the idea of like, yeah, I wanted it to be my voice. I wanted it to be a little bit of a Bowie voice. And then I was like, this
Yeah,
has got to have something in there just have that really like deep feeling of this song has a lot of meaning and a lot of
yeah.
it was this swan song, right? So
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Now I'm eager to go back and listen to it now, knowing that there's three vocals combined
yeah,
there. I think I could hear that it was doubled, but I didn't. It's interesting to hear that there were three real like
right.
planned performances
Yep.
that you're going. Yeah, that's cool. That'll be cool to go back and listen to. Um, Now, what about Plainsong? Is this another song you were always a fan of?
Yeah. I heard I didn't grow up in the disintegration era. I'm a little younger, not too much. But the first song I ever heard by The Cure was Fascination Street.
Mm,
And ever since then, one of my favorite songs, and then Disintegration has obviously become one of my favorite albums. And,
mm,
just that first track on the song, and it just comes in this wall of sound, and it's
mm,
just
mm,
an unbelievable song. Um, and this was another one for me. I think the Cure's sound, though they're never really that heavy,
mm,
lends itself to be very heavy if you
mm.
want it to be, right? And so I think there was a back in the early 2000s something on MTV where the Deftones covered "If Only Tonight We Could Sleep,"
Oh yeah.
and it was that real heavy Deftones sound. And
Mm,
so I've always just thought, man, these guys are heavy, even though you don't hear it, they're
mm.
heavy, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
again, it was just one of those things that like I could hear it as I was listening, and um, it came about pretty simply. Again,
Yeah.
um, surprisingly.
It's
So
it's another one too. The Cure is another band though that's like it's such an identity, you know.
mhm.
Like you I mean, somehow you just know that it's The Cure. It just takes
Right.
like a bar of music and you're like, oh, The Cure,
Yep,
which is
for
pretty
sure.
insane, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It really is. but you're exactly right. I mean, without even hearing Robert Smith's voice, like just the sound, as
Yeah.
soon as you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, yep, that's the Cure.
It's funny about the like this could be heavier kind of thing because have you listened to the new album?
Yeah, yep,
It seems like it's like he's using a distortion pedal on the bass quite a lot.
right,
Isn't that right? Yeah.
yep,
I thought
yep,
that was interesting. That was a pretty heavy sound, distorted bass.
yeah, definitely,
And then
definitely,
the bass like takes the lead a lot and there's like distorted bass leads,
right,
it's pretty cool.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, love it.
but when you were kind of so what was it the same kind of thing as Lazarus where you're basically substituting some sounds with uh more guitars and making them a bit heavier or...
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I took kind of the main um, basis for the song and just did a real heavy, like I think it was like drop C guitar to get that
Oh,
low tone,
okay, interesting.
which most of that is like synths in the song, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and then you basically have two synth parts in that song that are really carrying the melody. And I did that real
Mm.
low guitar. And then I did, almost like again, like a guitar solo to mimic the other synths. And then, what I actually did was took the only part really in the song that's a guitar, and I did a synth instead.
Oh, you did
So I
it.
kind of just reversed everything a
Okay,
little
yeah.
bit.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but it was fun, and I tried to make the synth sound that I used really, to me it felt like a lot of the sounds that they use in a lot of their other tracks, and so I was kind of just like trying to pay homage to the Deftone, or not to the Deftone sound, to the Cure sound with that heavier feel to it. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, I also think that was really cool. But I
yeah,
also
appreciate it.
I'm like that's one of my favorite Cure songs. That's like I can listen to that song any time.
Mhm.
It's like I could listen to it every day and not be tired of it, you know?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So good. Um, Now I'm wondering if is this possibly the start of Wayward like entering like maybe making some songs that are in more of like a pop song format that are is your original stuff?
I mean, I'm right in the middle of, well, I'm almost done actually of the next EP, and yeah, I'm singing on every track
Ah,
and quite a bit
I'm
more.
right. I'm right.
So yeah, yeah,
This is what I was hoping for. I was like, I wonder if he's like telling us, he's signaling, these are like some of the cool dark pop songs, and then he's gonna let rip with some wayward dark,
yeah,
dark pop,
yeah. I think it's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. And when are you thinking of releasing that?
Uh, March probably.
March? Okay.
I've got the first single ready to go. It's actually going to drop next month.
Oh,
So
really? Oh,
yeah,
awesome. Oh,
yep,
exciting. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
So it's gonna be cool. I think when we talked last time, we talked about how the Demonology EP kind of all flows together and feels like this
It's
cohesive
kind of
feel.
concept album. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this one is actually going to be like a concept EP. So
Oh,
there's a story
cool.
there's a story from start to finish
Oh, yeah,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah,
yep.
that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Um, and yeah, man, you know what? I just want to say too, it's really cool how you really jump in and like support everyone in this kind of dark, dark music community, that we have here, which I think is like, it really is feeling like real to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
kind of the dark community is what yeah.
No,
I've heard some people call it, yeah.
it's been really cool. I mean, you just jump in there, and then next thing you know, you got friends all over the place who you've never actually met except, on Zoom. But
Yeah.
I think it's awesome how everybody kind of at least in our little Instagram community,
Yeah.
everybody supports each other, and um, yeah, I love it. It's really cool to see,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just try to be a part of it because people put blood, sweat, and tears into something that maybe somebody will
Yeah.
listen to, maybe somebody won't. Um,
Yeah,
it's
man. Well,
cool.
I just wanted to say that I recognize that you really put an effort into that because I also know for myself that it's like, it's like a part-time job pretty much if you want to
Right.
like get in there and really be encouraging everyone,
Right.
you got to put the time in to like do it. So
Yep.
yeah, I just wanted to recognize that and say I personally appreciate it too, all the support that
Yeah.
you've
Hey,
given me.
and the same goes back to you. I mean, this show and everything else, it's amazing.
Yeah, man. Well, it's just fun. I mean, I was actually just, my ex-wife actually, she's not sure what to go from here, where to go from here in her career.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, she's got a master's degree. She's got all these like feminist ideas in her head and all these kinds of things. And I said, why don't you just start a podcast and just like, well, I don't know what, just invite people that you want to meet and talk to. And then it's like at the end of every show, you've got like a friend forever, like
Right.
that's a content. And it's like, because I didn't even realize that when I started this of like what a networking thing it was, but it's like there's a certain bond that you have when you're like talking about your creative life with someone that's like
Yeah.
is lasting. That's what I found. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that from even just watching other episodes on your show, right? Like you had Post Looperish on a little while ago. I was like, man,
Yeah.
I just want to like go grab a beer with these
Just
guys
hang out with
and
her.
hang out.
Exactly.
I feel like we're friends. So
It's funny you said that because I just did with actually I thought of you because I should have mentioned you to him. I don't know if you've ever come across Our Haunted Planet
no.
because he also does mostly instrumentals and it's kind of yeah, he's a big fan of like John Carpenter and the horror soundtracks
Yeah.
like that dark synth kind of horror thing. Yeah, he's not on Spotify yet, but he's on Bandcamp. And I did a show with him a couple of days ago, and but he's in Copenhagen actually.
Nice.
So it's
Nice.
funny to like do a Zoom in Copenhagen. I was like, well, why don't we just meet and have coffee and film it?
Right.
It's like oh, I'm really pushing the digital thing like too far.
Yep.
Maybe if they're in Copenhagen, I should actually meet them in person.
Right. Right.
But it was funny. But dude, I don't know if I should say this, but it looks like you've lost quite a bit of weight too, man. Have you? Have you like lost weight?
Nah, I think I was just
Oh,
like
really?
hood up
Oh,
and
maybe
like
that was it before. Okay.
being weird. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was the hood up. Oh yeah, and you had sunglasses on too. And
Yeah.
maybe yeah, I couldn't okay. Well, it's
It
nice to
was
see more of your face.
yeah, it was like this whole thing where I was like trying to maybe stay a little anonymous
Yeah, yeah.
for my own reasons, and then recently I was just like,
Yeah.
whatever, it's fine. So
It's interesting. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people like that, and it's like I think it's like trying to, I mean, I know like being a fan of Bowie growing up and stuff like that. It's like I'm a fan of like the mystique, you know what I mean?
right.
Like I just like, in fact, like tonight I was, like I said, I had this parent teacher meeting over at my daughter's school and they were like three kids behind. So I'm just like sitting there and this video came up of like David Bowie arriving in Japan for the Serious Moonlight tour, and he had like a fedora on and the bleached hair and a suit and
Right.
everything, and just him walking along and nodding and I like watched it like 10 times and I'm like, what is the matter with me? Like how can this guy still be so interesting? You know, that
Right.
to watch him walk across the camera 10 times in a row. But this is just like something that he has. But
Right.
yeah, it's like so I feel like there's like a part of me that wants to have some kind of mystique like that, but at the same time, you know, I also want to get to know people and whatnot too.
Right.
So I've like just decided to like just talk to people and be like a normal human being. And then, you know, when it's a music video, I'm like, I go full on rock star, you know.
Yeah, there you go. It's perfect.
That's my
Perfect.
trade-off. I just decided that's a different person, some different avatar, and that's okay,
Yeah, it works. It works.
Yeah, I have to remind myself, oh, I can do whatever I want. Oh, interesting.
Yep. Yep.
Well, yeah, it's great to talk to you about these, man. I'm glad we finally did it because we've been planning to do this for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
do you have some other covers? Are you going to drop these covers from time to time?
I might look to do it again. I actually intended to do probably like a full EP of covers when I started doing these, but it's a little bit of a hassle, honestly. So
Yeah,
getting the
yeah.
licensing and there's all sorts of weird stuff with, whether or not you can have them available on Instagram and TikTok and all those kinds of things. So
Oh, okay.
it
All
was
right. Do you have DistroKid? Do you use DistroKid?
no, no, I
Okay.
probably should switch over, but
Yeah, they because
yeah.
they actually do it all, but you do have to pay for it like every year. I think it's like $13 a year or something
Yeah.
so that I mean that does add up.
Yeah, but it gets so it was like it was good and I love it and it's fun to do covers and I think it's good to see like people get excited about hearing a different
Yeah.
version. Um, but yeah, it ended up being enough of a hassle that I'm like I'm not doing this four more times because I had
Yeah.
six songs in mind that I was
Oh, is
gonna
that
do.
really?
So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
are you well? Can you share with us what they are? I'm curious.
I was gonna do one from the Sisters of Mercy,
Oh, nice. Which
and
one? Which one of that?
um, oh no, my mind just went blank.
Okay.
Um, oh, Lucretia, My
Lucretia,
Reflection.
My Reflection. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I was gonna
Love that.
do Abattoir Blues by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then a couple others that were like instrumentals that I was gonna mess around
Actually,
with. So,
I did actually. I'll have to send this over to you if you promise not to share it with anybody else. But I did do a demo one time of Bowie's "Look Back in Anger."
okay,
But I was really having a hard time not doing a full-on Bowie impersonation.
right.
So I just let it rip. I just said, fuck it. Yeah, I'm just gonna
Nice.
enjoy myself. Yeah, yeah. So I did yeah, it's a real kind of synth pop version of Look Back in Anger.
Yeah, yeah,
You,
nice.
you may get a chuckle out of that one.
Yeah, send it over. Send it over.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe one day I'll share some of my random acoustic covers of weird things. So,
yeah, yeah, I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear it. I think about doing that of like I wish that I like had I wish that I was like had a big enough name that it would be useful for me to cover other bands' songs like in our community, because
right,
I also thought I just want to cover, other people's songs, in our community.
right.
And I think that would be really fun to do too, but you know, I don't know if I don't know if it really helps them out so much, but it'd be cool to do if you could give them more exposure.
Right, for sure. for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. How's the weather over there in
Oh, snowing this
Utah?
morning.
Is that
So
right?
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gotten cold, starting to snow.
Yeah, here too. They're actually calling for snow in Denmark. I think on Thursday of this week or something.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Got to get through it. Got to get through another winter.
yeah. Um, yeah. But anyway, man, I'm a big fan. All the best to
Appreciate
you,
it.
and I'm really looking forward to next month, the first single
Yeah.
from the new EP. What's the name
Yeah.
of the song? The first song?
It's called Opening.
Opening. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
super excited to hear where you go with the singing and everything, man.
It's yeah, it's there's definitely a lot more, and I got some guest vocals coming on one of the tracks, which I'm super excited about.
Ah,
So
cool, man.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
this
it's
is
gonna be
like
fun.
a whole new Wayward
Yeah.
Wayward. It is literally Wayward Ho.
There you go.
All right, man. Well, yeah, thank you so much for doing this, and we'll talk soon over the Instagram here.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good talking to
See ya.
you.